So, guys, we've lost the Man United derby to Man City 3-0. What are the issues? What are the problems? Is it the manager, Ruben Amorim? Has he lost his mind? Is he concussed? Or is it the ownership of Ineos and the Glazers? Is Sir Jim the Rat the issue? Do we need to get a whole new ownership? Can we survive? What's the problem at United? Let's dig into it today and let's find out what the real issues are. So, guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Welcome to moosareacts. After yesterday's mauling at the City ground, what can I say? Last week on the Mandem show, we spoke about predictions. I told everyone on the show that the likelihood that we would leave with any points was very slim. The best we could hope for was a draw. A lot of the Mandem were optimistic and thought that we could actually pick up points and can actually get the win because they looked at City as not being a great City side. One of the issues I had with that was that as much as we can, sit in our chair and be like, oh yeah, City's not a great City side, they still finished third in the league in a bad season and were unlucky not to finish second in front of Arsenal. Where you look at Man United having a bad season, we finish 8th and then 15th in the league. So how does a team that finished 15th have the nerve and the audacity to think that they can go to City, who finished 3rd, and just pick up points just because City are not that good? What we need to remember is that as bad as City are, Manchester United are just that much worse. And that's the issue. There isn't a team that I can remember that has beaten Man United that's had to play in 4th or 5th gear. Most teams don't have to get out of 3rd gear to beat us. City might have been in 3rd gear yesterday. It wasn't, a blistering City side. The only person I would say that was in 4th gear trying to get into 5th was Haaland up front. Other than that, the rest of them just didn't get out of 3rd gear. But you don't need to get out of 3rd gear to beat Man United, and that's the problem, and that's the issue that we have. One of the biggest problems that we're having at the club is that Ruben Amorim is making it more difficult on himself. He's making it much more difficult on himself than he has to. We're looking at the formation. We're looking at how he's setting up the players. We're looking at what players need to do to actually make the formation work, having to be brave, having to be front-footed. And then when you're asking a team to do that, that doesn't even have belief in itself in the first place, you're asking for problems. What you need to do is to get some belief in the team. Example, 5-3-2. Play 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, 2 up front. Change the whole way that you're trying to play the 3-4-3 so that we're hard to, score against, defensively rock solid so that we're not losing games. And then we can work on our, build-up play and scoring goals and counter-attacking, for lack of better words, because that's what City done to us yesterday. They counter-attacked us. We tried to come up with that high line, and you saw what happened like with the goal against Maguire. And they just broke on us time and time again, and they could have scored more goals like that. It could have been 6 yesterday. So it's like build some confidence within the squad by having a solid back line, has solid defence. But the fact is, sometimes we're defending with a 5 and we're still leaking in goals. So I just feel like the middle of the park is creating too much space so that even the best of midfielders would struggle in it. But especially a makeshift midfield of Bruno Fernandes and Ugarte. It's just not going to work, and it's just opening up Man United for defeats like this. And this is why all of a sudden nobody can see where we're going to get a win from. But we've been saying this, or I've been saying this from the Spurs game. You don't lose a final off the back of the season that Amorim had, no matter how good he is, or whatever the case might be, or how unlucky he is, and you keep your job at Man United. That should not happen. And the fact that that did, it's led us into a lot of hopefulness for this season and what could be and what could happen. And again, I just feel like Amorim's just putting himself in problems and doing things that he doesn't really need to do. And the problem with Amorim is that he doesn't want to change. He has no plans to change his system, no plans to change the way he plays. And he's basically told the ownership, if you don't like the way I play and the way that I set up, then sack me. So now it's on the ownership to look at it and say, hold on, this is not working. This is not going the way that we want it to go, and to just get rid of him. And I feel like there's still enough time for us to actually save our season. Still enough time. And I feel there's managers available. If you don't want to spend money, go and get Xavi Hernandez in on a 2-year contract and let him go and do his thing. For me, I need a manager that's all about the midfield and that's going to build his team around the midfield engine, ball playing midfielders. And that's also got Paul, that can also go into a club that he's very well respected, like Barcelona, and pull in some of these talented midfielders and be like, come, you're going to play for me. You're going to play for Xavi at Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we're going to play you in the middle of the park, and we're going to win games, and we're going to get this team back to where it deserves. I think he's got that pull and that power to make things happen. Riola at Bournemouth is not also a bad shout. Not bad at all. Comes from that same type of mentality of Spanish coaches that want to play football and want to play it in the right way. But the only thing that I would have against him is that, can he handle the prestige of Manchester United, how big the club is, and all the issues that come off the pitch, not just on the pitch? One of the things that happens at Man United, there's a lot of noise off the pitch. And managers like Xavi, who played at Barcelona and have the exact same experience of a big club and having problems off the pitch, and being able to sort that out and sort out what's going on the pitch and be able to thrive in that environment is very important. Because even when he went into Barcelona, it was a difficult time. A lot of turmoil was going on off the pitch. With the ownership and everything, and he managed to win, the La Liga in his first season, bring through young players, play an attractive style of football. So I feel like he has the minerals to just come into Man United and not be overwhelmed with the success off the pitch, for an example, or the trophies that they've won, or how big the club is, or all the noise that comes with it, or the fact that the media is always onto the club of the size of Manchester United, because again, he's come from Barcelona and is a Barcelona legend. But yeah, looking at yesterday's game, the lineup was mad. As soon as we saw the lineup, everybody was like, what's going on here? How are you playing Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes in the derby? What is happening here? Then he brought in Mazraoui in such a high-profile game, someone who hasn't played for a while, and you could see it. Mazraoui was just off the pace yesterday. Awful. Like, it's the worst. I think it's the worst I've seen Mazraoui play for Man United. He was just off the ball. And then you had Luke Shaw, who hasn't done anything since he's come back. Luke Shaw's just been awful. Now, the fact that the manager's pressing on with Luke Shaw, nobody understands it, nobody gets it. So you had Mazraoui, Luke Shaw, and then Ugarte in there. And to be fair on Ugarte actually done well in the first half, and I think Ugarte had a better game than Bruno Fernandes. I would have been trying to get Bruno off that pitch. That's the problem. Bruno's never coming off. I would have been trying to get Bruno Fernandes off the pitch to put Kobe next to Ugarte or put Casemiro. Because as much as we're on to Ugarte won a lot of balls back in the first half. He stopped a lot of attacks in the first half. And I think he actually had a better, as bad as we could say he was actually still better than Bruno. So again, that middle of the park just doesn't add up. In terms of who has more right to be in the middle of the park out of the two of them, I'll say Ugarte. If we're going to say we're not happy with the middle of the park because it's Bruno and Ugarte, but Bruno has no right to be there. Ugarte has an argument, as the defensive midfielder out of any two you put in there. He has an argument to say, look, if you help me and put a Kobe next to me, who they done very well together in pre-season, or a Casemiro, there's going to be a bit more grit here and a bit more stability without, vacating the middle of the park. So he has more of an argument, but the problem is with the manager, he's going to get himself sacked because he's not prepared to drop Bruno Fernandes. And as soon as Kobe Mainoo came on, we saw the ability that Kobe has, not just to break up play, not just to win back balls, but also to get his foot on the ball and carry the ball through the middle of the park and find the final pass and find, the perfect pass to a player where it's not compromising. The player that he's passing to is not in a position where the opposition are just going to jump all over him. He actually has time to, like Kobe picks the right pass and he finds the player that's in space. And I think that's just so important, especially when the team's just not confident and it's under a lot of pressure during the game. And I think Kobe proved what he's good at and what he can do. And again, that's on the manager. And then sadly, I just felt for Mbeumo, because Mbeumo's not a number 10. Guys, let's have this conversation. Mbeumo is not a number 10. And Mbumo is a flying winger, an attacking winger. He likes to run into space. He likes to play on the wing. He likes to get on, the bar line, drive in, cut, and hit it with his left foot. And we saw him do that yesterday. But then we saw times where he was just losing the ball a lot. He couldn't get the ball under his feet, and he was just finding it difficult. And I just feel like we're pushing him again into this bracket just to fit this manager of this in forward 10, which is just not in Mbumo. And what I think that the fan base are forgetting and are lacking to remember is that in this system, which we all don't want, the wingers are the wing backs. If you're a winger for Amorim, you play wing back. So Mbumo in this system, guys, has to play right wing back, because the wing backs start on the halfway line. If you give Mbumo that ball on the touchline, on the halfway line, and he has all that space to run into, you're going to see a totally different player, because that's what he wants. Remember, the wing backs are not starting, deep in our own half. They're starting on the halfway line. That's where you're finding Ahmad. But Ahmad isn't in forward 10. Ahmad does like to play those short passes and in those tight spaces, those give and goes, and get into the mid and get into the box. That is Ahmad. And I think the minute he swaps them two around, even though I want him to go, it will just be totally different. I think if he would have had Mbumo right wing back and Ahmad in the 10, you see a total different attacking flair on that side, just because of the attributes of the players. But a lot of people just want to get set. No, Mbumo, he scores goals, he's got to be in the 10, but it has to work for him. And Mbumo will get much more goals having... How many goals did Ahmad get playing right wing back? Getting goals from right wing back is not an issue, because you're not really a defender, you're a winger. So of course Mbumo will get goals from the wing back position, but again, it's on the manager, it's on Ruben Amorim to understand that. And one of the things that I said in the sum was, don't go out and spend your money on a striker. Play Xerxes up front, even though he didn't get on, or he got on very late, which I don't understand again. How the heck is he coming on so late? Like, what is... the manager's he's lost his mind. I don't know, I don't get it. How are you bringing him in so late when you saw the difficulties that Sesko has? The difference with Sesko and Xerxes is that Xerxes comes back into the middle of the park. Because he's like a 9.5, isn't he? He can play the 10 and he can play the 9, but he likes to come deep and actually get his foot on the ball and play with the rest of the team in that final third. Sesko made a lot of great runs, a lot of little neat runs, and they weren't finding him, and you can see his movement off the ball was excellent. I liked it a lot, and I like what I've seen from him. And mark my words, had Sesko signed for Newcastle, Liverpool, or any other team, he would have bagged goals by now, because his runs are excellent off the ball. Very good runs, and he's not being found. He would have bagged. The fact that he's not bagging goals is because he's at Man United. And this is why my argument is that start the season with your options up front being Xerxes and Cunha or Mbumo to support him, and spend the money in the middle of the park, because earn the right to get a striker. City went 2 years without a number 9 because they knew how to play the game and to get goals without a number 9. If you can get goals without a number 9, what do you think is going to happen when you get a 9? You're going to bang in mad goals. That's when they went and got Haaland. Arsenal the same. Arsenal's been playing 3 years without a number 9. They've been in the same situation like that City was in, They just been playing with Havertz up front, who's not a 9. But because Arsenal can score goals without an out-and-out 9, guess what happens when the 9 comes in? The 9 will start to bang goals. United can't score goals without a 9. We can't. We can't score goals full stop. So then getting in a number 9, how's that going to help you? Get in a midfielder. Establish the way you want to play the game in defence and in the middle of the park, and the goals will come. But if you can't do that, well, what's the point of getting a 9? So, like, we've got Sesko on the pitch, and it's like we don't have a number 9. So what's the worth of that? Sesko's on, but it's like we don't have a number 9. He's not getting the ball. He's not getting any chances on goal, and it's making him look like he's a meaty player. And now you got all these memes coming out of him, Tesco, every little helps, and it's like, it's not his fault. But again, the fan base wants to get excited about big names coming through the door, getting number 9s, even though everyone knows we can't play football. The manager's not setting us up in a way to play the game properly and to play the game to win. So what are we doing? It just doesn't make sense. And for me, looking at that game, I knew we weren't going to win. And I told the man then, we're not going to beat City. We'll be lucky to get a draw. We won't beat Chelsea. And again, we'll be lucky to get a draw. And then we'll go on to Sunderland and Brentford thinking that we should be picking up points, and we won't. So it's dark times. It's really dark outside. And I feel like if everyone doesn't start to really put pressure on things changing at the club with the manager, the issue isn't just Amarin. The issue is the fact that the management at the club thought that Amarin was a good idea. That is the fundamental problem. That he went to West Ham. No, we're gonna have to change too much to give you a job. He's gone to other places and they thought, for us to give you a job, too much has to change. It's not gonna work. Come to Man United, you got to change everything. Oh yeah, that's fine. We can do that for you, but we can't. We can't afford to do that. We're not in a position to do that, and this is why we're in a problem. None of our other teams in the academy, outside United's main team, plays this system. No one else plays 3-4-3. Our women's team, the under-21s, the academy, nobody's playing this. So then it's not a long-term outline or long-term goal for our club to be known as a club that plays 3-4-3. So then what are we doing, pursuing and persisting with a manager where the youth academy players that we're going to call up into the first team are also not playing this system. So they're going to get brought up from the academy into the first team, and they're going to have to start learning again how the manager wants us to play. It doesn't make sense. So for me, the manager has made it clear he's not going to change his approach to how he plays the game. And he said, if you want to change and you don't like how I play it, you got to change the man in the seat, meaning you got to sack him. So he's made it clear, sack me or just shut up and just let me do my thing. And I feel like that's on Ineos and that's on the Glazers to actually make the decision, say, we're not going to shut up, we're going to sack you, and we're going to get someone else in who can actually make this squad do what they should be doing, because this squad is not as bad as it is. Because you're going to have YouTubers out there talking rubbish, especially that Mark Goldbridge. He is always going to talk about how teams like Newcastle are better than us, and teams like Spurs have a better 11 than us, and teams like, always comparing these other teams, and he's going to allow the fan base to believe that Newcastle actually have a better squad than Man. No, they don't. Spurs and Newcastle do not have a better squad than Man United. You cannot look. Listen, if you're a manager in world football and you get given the choice of the Man United squad, the Spurs squad, and the Newcastle squad, there's no way you pick these other two over United. You got Casemiro in there, bags of experience, won everything you could win in a game, bags of experience. You know, you got one of the most exciting players in the league, numbers wise. None of those other teams have a player who's put up numbers that Cunha and Mbeumo have in the last 2-3 years in the league. Then you've got one of the most exciting strikers in European football in Sesko. You got players like Euro, one of the most exciting defensive young backs in the game. Heaven. You just got players like Martinez. You've got players in core players. Then you've just gone and signed statistically one of the best young goalkeepers in European football. People who can make things happen. And you're telling me a manager's just going to go and pick a Newcastle team. Who's Newcastle got? They got Bruno in the middle of the park. They got the Italian guy in the middle of the park as well. And besides that, their new striker, Woltermed, from Germany, he's an unknown. Like, come on, man. You stop playing games with me. And Spurs is the same. You know, they got Kudus. They got Simmons. Their midfield is not bad. But again, I don't look at it and I don't see anyone in there that has the experience of players like a Cass who can come in and be like, yeah, you know what, I can work with this. Like, as a manager, you know what, I could chat to Cass. He's been there, done that. He's seen it all. And I can get him to get the idea into the team, what it takes to win. Because one of the biggest things is having players who've actually got it over the line. They know how to win. And what you're seeing now at Man United, you're seeing a group of players who, sooner or later, none of them would have ever finished in the top 4 race. So you will have a team of 11 where none's finished in the top 4 because we finished 8th and 15th. and God knows where we're going to finish this season. And then you will be left with no experience when Casemiro goes. So who's going to tell these guys, besides the manager, what it takes to be a winner and show them and help them drag them over the line? And I feel like we're not using the strengths of having someone like a Casemiro. It's like Varane. When Varane was there, the levels was high. As soon as he left, you saw how Martinez fell off. Like having those one or two of those experienced players in the clubs that's been there, done it, and I've got I've got all the badges and the trophies to show is so important for this young team, because it is a talented young team. So for me, again, guys, all roads lead to the dugout, and that's not me, bypassing the ownership and everything that's going on with the Glazers and Jim the Rat, because we need to sell the club. The club needs to be sold. People need to come in who actually know what they're doing and are prepared to write off all the crazy mad debts that we've got and everything that's slowing us down off the pitch, to quieten the noise and to allow us to just concentrate on total football, being the best that we can. And I think one of the red flags that I've seen from Ineos, for a lot of people that want to, give them the benefit of the doubt, is that Ineos are slow to fire. Very slow to fire. Quick to hire, slow to fire. And I feel like they need to take more time in who they're hiring and get it right. But then you need to be quick to fire, because if you have the wrong manager in charge, they will do more damage than not having one at all. They would, like, a permanent manager would do more damage than an interim at this point now, because with the permanent, they're asking you to believe in a long-term vision, where with an interim is short-term. You're having to change it very soon. You're just getting them to steady the ship. This long-term vision that we're having with Amorim is very, for me, it's scary, because Ineos came in. They saw Ten Hag win the FA Cup, and they should have got rid of him. But they froze. They let him stay a couple games into the season. Second, I think, international break, then they sack him. Turmoil. It's in the season's already started. Rather than breathe, take their time, get an interim in, let Ruud van Nistelrooy see it out to the end of the season, they panicked again. No, Ruben, you gotta come. Ruben came like a fool, left halfway through the season, Sporting Lisbon, rather than staying and being firm on it, saying, look, if you really appreciate me and want me, I'll come at the end of the season. I'm not budging. He run like a dog, and now look what's happened. They didn't back him in January. He comes to the summer transfer window, and he's got one of the worst records of any Man United manager. You can't write that off and start a new season. You cannot write having one of the worst records as a Manchester United manager, just write it off and think you're going to start the season and everyone's going to be like, yep, we forgot that, some Men in Black thing where your memory's wiped and you just start the season fresh again, forgetting about all the losses that you had last season. Impossible. So he started the season as bad as he ended it. And now, look, 4 games in, everyone's lost. We don't know what we're doing. We got 4 points out of 4 games, and it looks mad. And now we're talking about sacking him when he should have got sacked after the Spurs game. He had one of the worst records as any Man United manager. He's gone into a Europa League final against Spurs to win it, to actually get us some silverware, when he had no right to be there. He's never been in the European final as a manager with Sporting Lisbon, with how good everyone says Sporting Lisbon were doing. But why hadn't he never been to a European final with Sporting? So he's never been there. This poor Man United team dragged him to a final. He had an opportunity to pick the right team, and he blew it again. Playing Mason Mount, Luke Shaw, all of that stuff, he blew it again. We lost to Spurs. We lost the opportunity to be in the Champions League. And then he comes out and says, I don't think we're ready to be in the Champions League. Are you silly, you prat? He found us playing Champions League football a couple seasons ago, Eric Ten Hag, when we finished third. If we'd done it under Eric Ten Hag and it wasn't a great team, why can't you do it with this team and the backing that you're going to get in the summer? Talking about he doesn't think we're in a position. We've played it. And we should have been in the Champions League, because it would have gave us more revenue and a better chance of actually getting in a midfielder. Then again, he's given an opportunity in the summer to get rid of Bruno Fernandes for between 80 to 100 million. He says no, keeps him to play him as a 6. We don't go and get Bellerin or Wharton, and now you find us in this madness. And this is why his job is on the line, and he's going to have to take the fall for the madness that's going on here. It's got to be. So for me, is get Xavi in. He's a free agent. He's available now. He's good to go. Short-term contract, 2 years, and let him come and play the game as we all want to see the game. Because no Man United fan is asking for us to win the league, to win Champions League. We're just saying, let these players play at the ability that we know that they can play. Anyone that's blaming players now has lost it. Most of these players have only been here for 2 years. You've been blaming players for the last 5-6 years. How can you blame a crop of new players that just got here? Euro got here last summer. Ugarte got here last summer. Mazraoui got here last summer. De Ligt got here last summer. Who else we got in there? Then we got Ahmad and Kobe. None of you are saying that they're crap and you blame them for any of our downfall. Then you've got Cunha and Bumo. They just got here. Sesko, he just got here. Dorgu, he just got here. So who are these players that you're blaming? You just bought in the door. How can it be? So you bought players in last summer and now you're blaming them again. It can't be the players. When you talk about the players, it's like Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire. But that's not the core base of the players. The core base of the players, when you keep on saying it's the players, have just got here. So next summer, with the way you lot see the game, that keep on saying it's the players, you're going to be blaming Mbumo, Cunha, Sesko, who else? And the goalkeeper. You're going to be saying it's the players. But they just got here. And before that, everybody was raving that Cunha's one of the best players in the league and Bumo's one of the best players in the league. You got to make your mind up, guys. Are we buying players that are absolutely good? And we know that they're good. And then they're getting here. And the madness at the club is bringing them down. Or are they to blame? Because Cunha and Mbumo can't be crap overnight. Because you're blaming players who just came in last year. It's the equivalent of the end of this season, next season, blaming Cunha and Mbumo. That's the equivalent, because they would have just been in for a season as well. You can't be blaming these players that just came in. It doesn't make sense. It's the way that this manager's setting up the players and allowing them to play. It's just detrimental to the whole side and to what we're trying to do. So that's, as far as I'm concerned, Amrin's got to go, guys. He's got to go. There's no other way around it. I don't see us getting a win against Chelsea. I just don't see us happening. I want to do maybe a preview. I don't like to do it. Most of the time I'll do it on a Mandem Talk, what I think about the game. But I might do one on the channel, a preview for the Chelsea game. But again, I just don't see us getting a win. How do we beat Chelsea? How do we do that? Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments. I'll make sure to get in there and have conversation with you all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I want to start going live soon. I'm just trying to set it all up so I can start doing some lives. I want to do a show with the Mandem, and look out for the show Mandem United. I want to get it on every Sunday. We do a live and we can kind of go through the week and the game and what's happened. But with the way things are, we're playing one game a week. It's madness. So I hope, hopefully on the Mandem United show, we can kind of talk more about the league, other teams, and just other things that's going on. Until then, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm out.